got whooped. What you did, man? What you did? Yeah, fuck around and find out was a person. This is what happened to you. What you did, man? Huh? What you did? He ain't had enough. He's straight. You did what? Yeah, fuck around and find out was a person, man. This is what it would look like. Ooh. Damn. Better him than me.
Look at this nasty ass shit, Tiki Talk. Tiki Talk. Look at this shit. Look at this South Carolina privilege, man. Gotta do all this while I get in the shower. Look how nasty that shit is. Man. Disgusting. Look at this shit, Tiki Talk. Look at this nasty, disgusting shower, man. You gotta rinse this motherfucker before you even washing this motherfucker. They don't want to fix the shit. The water cold as a motherfucker. We tell them the water been scalding hot. They get mad and turn it all the way down to fucking ice cold. This shit crazy, man. South Carolina prisons, man. We need reform down this motherfucker. Disgusting.
Right now, you're watching this from the comfort of your own space, making your own choices, going where you want. But imagine if all of that disappeared tomorrow, and instead, you're locked in a disturbing concrete box with criminals who've lost everything, including their minds. That's the reality for millions of people right now, and the conditions they're surviving in. They're worse than you think, way worse. Take a deep look at this miserable clip I found yesterday.
Well, today's date is June 8th. It already been happening. One time this month, I'm gonna flush it. This is the second time the water is brown with rust all in it. It happened twice, sometimes 3 times a month. Now let's go here. See how water brown? This is the water we got to drink. This happens 2 or 3 times a month. And they call themselves just flooding the pipes out when them pipes 80, maybe 60 to 80 years old. And you got to renew the whole system. Not flush it out, that's the cheap way. And this is what we drinking since I've been here 3 years. This how it look. It's just a miracle. By God's grace, we still alive.
Alright, let's start with something that's going to make you sick to your stomach. Most people think prison cells are just basic concrete rooms with a bed and a toilet. Clean, sterile, maybe a little cramped, but manageable, right? Dead wrong. Here's what nobody tells you about American prison conditions, and this is happening right now, in facilities across the country. We're talking about cells where human waste backs up through the plumbing for weeks, where inmates are drinking water that's literally brown, where the food they serve would be illegal to feed to animals. But let me tell you about something that'll really mess with your head: the showers. You think taking a shower is just about getting clean. In prison, it's about survival. Picture this: you walk into a communal shower room with no privacy, no doors, no protection. The water, half the time it's ice cold or scalding hot. There's no in-between. The floors are covered in mold, fungus, and God knows what else that's been building up for years. And here's the kicker: you're completely naked and vulnerable in a room full of dangerous criminals. This is where a lot of the worst stuff happens: assaults, extortion, intimidation. You literally have to choose between staying dirty and risking your life just to get clean. I'm not exaggerating. There are prisons where guys go weeks without showering because they'd rather smell like garbage than risk. What could happen to them in those shower rooms? Think about that for a second. Being filthy is safer than basic hygiene. But here's where it gets really disturbing. These aren't just uncomfortable conditions. They're designed to break you down mentally. When you're living in your own filth, when you can't even shower safely, when you're eating food that makes you sick, your brain starts to crack. And that's exactly when the real dangers show up. Because when someone's already at their breaking point from these conditions, they become unpredictable, desperate, and in a place where you can't escape. Well, that brings us to something even more terrifying.
So we get moved out of our dorm for repairs into a flooded out dorm. Flooded out bunks. When it rains, it floods it leaks through the ceiling. So whoever's on that top bunk is going to get rained on. But this is what the warden moved us into today. There's no electricity, no light in the room. As you can see, a light switch with no light. So we'll be here in the dark. This is what the warden wants us to live in for the next 2 weeks.
Now, if you think dealing with regular inmates in those disgusting conditions is bad, wait until you hear about what's happening with synthetic drugs inside these walls. There's this stuff called spice, and listen to me carefully, this isn't like weed or anything you've seen on the streets. This synthetic garbage is turning grown men into literal zombies, and it's everywhere in prison. Picture this nightmare. You're locked in a cell block with someone who just smoked spice. 1 minute they're having a normal conversation. The next minute they're convinced the walls are melting and you're some kind of demon trying to kill them. And remember, you can't leave. You can't call for help. You're trapped in there with them. Here's why this should terrify you. Spice doesn't just make people high, it makes them psychotic. We're talking about inmates who are already dealing with the mental stress of those disgusting conditions I just showed you. And now, they're using a drug that literally disconnects them from reality. I've heard stories that'll haunt you guys on spice attacking their own cellmates because they thought they were fighting monsters. Others who've tried to eat their own hands because the drug convinced them it was food. This isn't some rare occurrence. This is happening daily in American prisons. And here's what'll really blow your mind. The guards. Half the time they can't tell who's on spice and who's just having a mental breakdown from the conditions. So you're completely on your own, trying to survive around people who might snap at any moment and do unthinkable things to you. But as terrifying as that sounds, there's something even more predatory happening in these places. Something that targets the most vulnerable inmates the moment they walk through those doors.
So, Mel, most of the time, if the man knock you out, he gonna pull your drawers down and he gonna put his finger in your ass.
A man's butt. It was more, I'm sorry, it was more booty, having some booty was more important than drinking water, man.
Alright, this next part is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but we need to talk about it, because understanding this reality could literally save someone's life. There are predators who specifically target new inmates, especially young guys who look scared or vulnerable. They call them booty warriors. And they've turned sexual assault into a systematic hunting game. Here's how this nightmare works. The moment fresh meat walks into a cell block, these predators are already sizing them up like wolves watching sheep. They're looking for guys who won't make eye contact, who keep their heads down, who look like they don't know the rules. And once they pick their target, they don't just attack randomly. These guys are strategic predators. They'll start by offering protection or friendship. They'll give you commissary items, cigarettes, whatever you desperately need. They make you feel safe, like you've found an ally in this nightmare. But here's the trap that destroys lives. Everything comes with a price in prison, and once you accept their help, you owe them. And when they come to collect that debt, the scariest part, the guards often know exactly what's happening and look the other way. Some of these predators have been doing this for years, decades even. They know exactly how to work the system and get away with it. According to official reports, sexual assault happens to over 200,000 inmates every year. But the real number, it's probably way higher because most victims never report it out of shame and fear.
What you want me to do, G? What you want me to do? Hey, G, what you want me to do, G?
And if you think this only happens to certain types of people, you're dead wrong. I've seen stories of guys who were tough on the streets, guys who thought they could handle anything, completely broken and destroyed by this system. So let me bring this all together for you, because this isn't just some disturbing documentary content. This is a reality check that could change your life or save someone you care about. We just walked through 3 levels of hell that millions of Americans are living through right now. Disgusting conditions that break down your mental health, including showers so dangerous that staying dirty becomes a survival strategy. Inmates high on synthetic drugs who've lost touch with reality and could attack you at any moment. And predators who turn the most vulnerable moments of someone's life into their hunting ground. Now, if you're watching this and you're someone who's walking that line on the streets, thinking prison is just doing time, wake up right now. This isn't a timeout. This is psychological and physical warfare designed to destroy who you are as a person. And if you're a parent watching this, worried about where your kid is headed, show them this video today. Because sometimes the brutal truth is the only thing that can save someone from making the worst decision of their life. The choice is yours right now. You can keep living like the consequences don't apply to you, or you can understand that every single decision you make on those streets could lead you straight into this nightmare. Prison isn't rehabilitation, it's not justice, it's survival. And now you know exactly what you'd be surviving. Choose wisely. Your life depends on it.